the conference. I'm very excited to be moderating this panel because it's a topic that I love, Web3, unpacking a metaverse of opportunity. So obviously, Web 1 was the first stage of the World Wide Web. And when we think about Web 3, when we think about Web 2, it's more about social media, user-generated content. And Web 3 is obviously the decentralization of internet. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So I will let Sandi introduce himself and let us know what you're doing with 3Air.
Hi, I'm Sandi Bitenc. I'm the CEO of 3Air. So we are providing broadband internet through air. We can go up to 1 gigabit per second, up to a 50 kilometers range from our base stations. And we're actually building a blockchain-based platform to access the services and also to interconnect the telecoms in the future, and doing some experimental features like, let's say, trying to decentralize broadband, tokenizing it.
Very cool. Very cool. Obviously, we do need to be connected to get the benefits of Web3. Mohamed, can you please introduce yourself and let us know what you're doing?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Mohamed Abdou, the founder and CEO of Pravica. And Pravica is a private and secure communication platform that uses blockchain technology to empower user privacy, especially for enterprises. So we are working with the standard of Web 3.0 to make sure that we are deliver the highest private and secure standard for enterprises when they are communicate using emails, messaging apps, and conferencing tools, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Emmanuel, can you please introduce yourself and let us know what you're doing at Bundle?
Yeah, thank you so much. Good day, everyone. So at Bundle, we are building the social payments app for cash and crypto, and basically Cash App for Africa, right? What we're trying to do is connect people and make payments as easy as sending a WhatsApp message. We also built the largest peer-to-peer on and off-ramp solution, completely decentralized. Basically, if you think about Uber and Flutterwave having a baby. So it's quite a lot of work we're doing, and really happy to be here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Duncan, on to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So my name is Duncan. I'm the principal at Unicorn Growth Capital. So Unicorn Growth Capital is an Africa-focused venture capital fund, and we invest in fintech companies and Web3 companies as well. Now, we like to focus on companies that are building the fintech infrastructure, building embedded finance products, digital financial services, and most importantly, the ones that are actually incorporating crypto and blockchain into their product and strategy. We invest between seed and Series A, and we are a operator-focused, operator-led venture capital fund. So we work very closely with our founders to help them scale their business across Africa. We focus on Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and we're very glad to be here and looking forward to the discussion today.
Thank you. George, on to you.
Thank you very much. My name is George Mwakisha. I'm the Business Development Manager for Binance East Africa. And Binance basically is the biggest, or rather the largest cryptocurrency trading exchange in the world globally. And we are actually excited in the African market so that we can grow the user base and also help more people, join the crypto bandwagon in a more safe and secure manner.
Thank you. Really cool stuff everyone here is doing on this panel. Okay, so Sandi, I just want to ask you, so obviously for Web3 to work, we do have to be connected to the internet, and I know that is what 3Air is working on, is connecting the unconnected, which is the very important thing that we need, especially in Africa. So I just want to ask you, what does the future of internet access look like?
Yeah, so for sure, if we're speaking about the future of Web3, I think it will come down to getting the critical mass on the most people using it. Then it becomes actually mainstream. So to do this, first you need to have people connected to the internet, and this, in a sense, is not directly connected to Web3. So connecting people will still be a lot of infrastructure that needs to be built yet. That is a question. Then how could we decentralize that? Unfortunately, to be honest, I don't see that happening pretty much in the future. Right now, things are actually going in the other direction. So at the beginning, the internet was probably a bit more decentralized than it is right now. So we started off as mostly peer-to-peer connections. Right now, the internet by itself, yeah, we can say if we look at the tier 1 networks, it's probably owned by around 20 companies, something like that, and all the websites and everything that's up and running right now, it's probably in the hands of only a few companies. So we are kind of going in the opposite direction, and we need to find out systems that will prevent centralization. It's actually the same things that we are seeing now in blockchain and the layer ones and so on. So with time, they're getting less and less decentralized and more centralized. Speaking then about the internet access, I think it's even worse because every ISP right now still has to have a license, until, let's say, until really the infrastructure is owned by the people, I don't think it will be possible to kind of fully decentralized internet access, and there'll always be some entities that can prevent people to connect. So yeah, looking into those things and how to make this decentralized will be probably the future.
Yeah, so when you said the infrastructure should be until it's owned by the people, when do you see that happening anytime soon, or what are ways that that are companies looking into doing that? Is 3Air also looking into having the infrastructure being owned by the people?
Well, from our perspective,
educated over 400,000 users in Africa, and our main focus basically is user education. We all know crypto comes with its own, lingo. It comes with its own challenges in maybe technology-wise. Some people are not so conversant with how to go about things. But Binance, we're focused in making things very, very easy for people to understand and participate in some of these products which are being launched, some of these cryptocurrencies and so on. So basically, for Web3, we will definitely come up with a very nice educative platform, which we have called Binance Academy. So on Binance Academy, anyone can join there. We have over 200 articles. Anyone can just go and type Web3 or Metaverse, or whatever topic you want to learn, and you'll be able to familiarize yourself, you'll be able to open yourself to understanding what Web3 is all about.
Cool. Emmanuel, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, sorry about that. I wanted to add something to the question around how investments, as he said, would work in this new era. So one approach is what my colleague here, Duncan, has said about how, VCs look at it. As he mentioned, there is also a risk in terms of, okay, will this thing work? And potentially, as he said as well, waiting for the industry to mature, for regulations to come out, them to move from pre-seed to Series A before more investors come in and stuff like that. One of the metaverse of opportunity within Web3 is that today companies can capture their future value. What do I mean? We see how Binance specifically, when we launched, raised $15 million via an ICO. by issuing a token. Now, Binance just had an idea that we wanted to change this, right? And decided to do a raise and capture some part of their future value. What that means is today you can start a company and issue tokens, whether you want to do an ICO, an IDO, an IEO on any platform, and give incentive to your community, to your users. Now, one of the biggest advantages of Web3 platforms are its users have a stake in the company already. Imagine you had an opportunity to buy shares in WhatsApp before they launched. Now, why this is so profound is that equity and revenue are still there on one hand, right, untouched. But you're able to capture another value, right, by really incentivizing your users and driving growth. And what we see with Web 2 platforms, by Web 2 platforms I mean every other tech company aside from crypto companies. You see the charts for their growth is usually they have to bootstrap for a while, grow, and then start really growing at some point. But for platforms that are able to take advantage of the benefits that come with tokenization and this new economy, what happens is they're able to capture that future value and start growing really fast from get-go. It took Binance, for instance, 4 years to become the how many billion-dollar company it is today. So that's also what I want to add as well.
Cool. Yeah, very true. So I actually want to ask Sandi a question. Because I think earlier we were also talking about giving access to internet, but also the government and ISPs. I want to know your thoughts on how much power do they have, because they have the switch to turn on and off the internet, and I just kind of want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, if they can switch on and off internet, yeah, globally for sure not. But you live in a country, so you're connected and you're working on from there. So you need to be connected to some internet service providers. Okay, now maybe we'll start getting a bit better. I don't know, internet, satellite internet. So that's going to be a bit difficult then, but right now they can prevent you to go to a website, right? Okay, there are still workarounds, so spinning up a VPN or something like that is always possible. So it's still a mix. It's hard to really say, but right now they do play still a big role. Not a lot of people are actually knowledgeable enough to work around some restrictions that a country might impose on you.
Yeah, very true. Okay, good to know. Okay, so Mohamed, I want to ask you, what does the future of our privacy look like? Because obviously, as we talked about with the big social medias like Facebook, we don't have any privacy. What do you think the future of our privacy looks like?
Yeah, so I believe that maybe individuals or normal people, they don't care too much about data privacy, but when you think about enterprises, governmental entities, it's crucial for them to make sure that the data is in a private and secure way, and they can exchange it in a secure way. But I believe that, like any innovation, when you talk about blockchain, which is the key entry to come up with some products that's related or taking the privacy as the first thing to think about. For any innovations, you need to come up with the adoption like from top to down. Like you need to target the governmental entities. I think about the GPS started as a military project, then now everyone has a GPS service over the mobile device. So same as when you think about blockchain to use it for data privacy, it comes from top down. When you talk about the future, we talk about the mass adoption. So once governmental entities, big enterprises, banks, healthcare companies, research centers started to use products that taking care about data privacy and put it the Web 3.0 standards at the main rules to follow, then by default, it's going to go down with the mass adoption. This is how I'm thinking about the future of data privacy.
Okay. Emmanuel, so obviously we talked about how we were left behind in Web 1, Web 2, and how can we make sure, especially for Africans, that we're not going to be adopters again instead of innovators. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so generally I think that Africa, at least for the first time in a long time of trends coming and going, .com era, has actually been very active in this particular fourth industrial revolution, as people call it. Today, a lot of African countries rank top when you look at, like, in terms of crypto adoption index globally, right? So, and key countries in Africa also play profound roles in how people are, seeing crypto and how people are, adopting this Web3. This is specifically because, as I like to say, like, Africa has the most profound use cases for crypto. Most of the problems, the basic problems that crypto solves in itself are problems that we face in Africa today. Cross-border payments, remittances, those basics, right? Before you even talk about NFTs and Metaverse and the rest, a lot of people are just buying crypto because their currency is going to shit. Sorry for that. So that's, part of what, people are really looking at. They are trying to, hedge against inflation. They are trying to, make ends meet, in quotes, right? So for Africa, it's a lot deeper, right? They are really doing crypto because it's, really important to how they feed their families, right? So that is one side. So definitely on adoption side, Africa would not play catch-up. And then on the tech side, we are seeing more and more companies from Africa all over the place. If you go to the booths, you're seeing a lot of guys doing great stuff, building for the future, And so we are in the matter in Africa. So we are very involved, and we are leading the way this time.
Thank you. I think we are running out of time, so I will open up Q&A to the audience if anyone has any questions for everyone here. Okay, right here.
Problem. Hi. Especially given that within the African continent, we have specific social issues around education and healthcare. I'd like to hear about the opportunities a little bit more. Thank you.
Who wants to take this question?
Attention, ladies and gentlemen, attention, please. The masterclass on what you need to know about global tech journalism is about to begin. The masterclass on what you need to know about global tech journalism is about to begin upstairs in the My Meeting Room. And also the crypto panel on wealth creation is about to begin in the Money and DeFi stage. Thank you.
Okay, so the question was, what excites you most about the metaverse, right? Who wants to answer this?
Let me go there first. I think what excites us most, especially as investors, is companies that are trying to take advantage of the large youthful population in Africa, and taking advantage. I mean, also trying to solve problems like unemployment of the youth, which is a big problem. So we're starting to see Web3 companies that are trying to come up with amazing products. We get seeing play to earn kind of platforms that are trying to get people, getting engaged because they are constantly on their phones, right? So get them engaged, get them to earning money. We're starting to see, platforms that are creating gig work, and or micro work, what you can call micro tasks. So you can complete tasks and get paid. So those are some of the most exciting opportunities for us, and those kind of companies that are targeting the youthful unemployed population and trying to give them opportunities.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to answer this?
Yeah, let me just add something. So as Duncan said, the applications are so amazing. Social media platforms, people are providing content and earning from their content as well. And one of the key things about the metaverse is it's driving the adoption of crypto. So just to quickly add, the metaverse is this parallel universe, virtual reality, right? Web3 is going to power the economy and monetary policies and privacy policies, hopefully, of that new digital space. So things like NFTs, things like play to earn, and all these virtual reality games that are going to be worked on. You see Facebook and other platforms announcing that, okay, they are thinking about the metaverse, they are thinking about NFTs, they are trying to do this. Now, this is driving the adoption for crypto as well. So that is also something that really excites me about the entire idea.
Thank you.
Well, for me, it's just that it's making our real world really smaller and accessible to everyone. So it doesn't matter where you're from, how much money you have. Probably you'll be able to somehow in the future, a really near future, to enter the world of the metaverse and just be able to do whatever everybody else is doing. It really doesn't matter where you're from and what you actually do. You'll be able to connect. Yeah, that's kind of the thought that intrigues me the most.
Mohamed, do you want to also maybe answer this quickly?
I believe also there is a great opportunity when you think about some products that's related to the ownership. So when you think about NFTs as a way for the ownership for the real estate, for example, so there is a great opportunity to solve a problem of corruption in real estate titling, which is something very common in Africa. So now people started to think about how to convert this ownership to be like NFT. So you can sell your land or your house easily by transferring the NFT. So there is another thing also. I think there's some platforms right now allowing for content creators to earn Bitcoin while they are writing content. So before Web 3.0, before crypto, no way to do this, because the actual content, it's not owned by you. You are using the normal platform just to write the content. But now, there are some platforms allowing you to earn crypto for your content, for your images, and many other ideas. So the space is quite large, but need more investment and more developers come and build these products and make it very easy in terms of user experience. People, they don't care about blockchain, don't care. They don't, you don't have the ability to sell the technology. You need to sell the product itself, which is solving the great problems that we have right now.
Yeah, very true.
So during tea break, I met with someone and they asked me, what is blockchain? And that question actually took me aback. And sometimes we tend to assume that people understand these particular technologies. And I'm sure most of them actually are wondering, what are we really talking about? So just to answer that person, blockchain is a technology that enables movement of digital assets from one party to another party, all right, without the need of an intermediary or without the need of a central party. So with that explanation, it tells us that blockchain is a technology that opens doors to opportunities. So blockchain decentralizes control, okay, from one party, okay, or rather from a single point, and decentralizes or distributes it to many people. Now, Metaverse is just an extension of this particular ecosystem. And with this, why we are so excited about it is that it opens opportunities to many people to participate. Not like one person participating or one entity participating in a centralized manner like what we see in Web 2, but now opens doors to everybody to participate and create and innovate, and share knowledge and what we are calling actually the shared economy. So that's something which we are really excited about, and it will really help change the paradigm as it is.
Thank you. I'll take one more question. Yeah.
Hello. I am a serial entrepreneur and investor. So first of all, thanks George, Duncan, Babs, Mohamed, Sandi, and Hilina for a great session. It was really, really interesting. And I would like to ask you regarding the future. We're talking future here. And I think a lot of people know the current universe. And we've seen that it's been impacted severely by a flu virus, COVID, over the last 2.5 years. So our lives have changed significantly all around. So my question to you is, how will Metaverse impact on our lives 5 years down the line? What do you think? Is the current universe all moving into the Metaverse and we're all living next to Snoop and Jay-Z and all these guys? What's gonna happen? What is the usability case of our lives in the Metaverse? It would be good if you could just go one by one. I would love to hear your individual opinion.
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question. And basically 5 years from now, what you need to see is we have more people developing and participating in wealth creation. And blockchain as it is helps in distributing this wealth. Metaverse is one aspect of it, and when it distributes and helps more people grow their portfolios, grow their wealth, and so on, in future we see that economies like Africa will now be able to participate in the global agenda of building, rather than them waiting for things to be done. So it's easy for anyone right now to plug in and develop and be part of the bigger picture.
Yeah, so I think what happens in the future in the Metaverse, it breaks down geographical barriers. And I think that's one of the most important things we've realized during the pandemic. We were all locked down in our countries, there was no flying, you could not move anywhere, so we all caught up in our own small house, in our own small bubbles. Now the Metaverse now just breaks those barriers completely. And when you think about what that means, it's let me just give you a real use case. I mean, I'm in the financial services sector, so I like to use financial services. Today, I can only borrow money or take a loan from maybe a bank in Kenya or like a microfinance, a Tala branch, those kind of applications. And I have to do KYC because they know my ID. They kind of know how to. They know how to interact with me. Now, on the Metaverse, we break down geographical barriers. It doesn't matter, whether you're holding an ID from Kenya or an ID from, I don't know, America or Uganda. It's all the same and it's all acceptable. I can get a loan, based on my credit history, transaction history. Anyone can lend to me. It doesn't. Back in the day, about 7 years ago, I was helping Jumia lend to merchants using Bitcoin. The lenders were all over the world. And the company was registered in Germany. We were lending to merchants in Nigeria, in Kenya. So that's what's going to happen in the Metaverse, right? So you're going to be a global citizen. So you can bank in the same bank as Jay-Z, and you can enjoy the same services as anyone else in the world. So that's what's going to happen. You're going to break down geographical barriers, and everyone can participate, like you said, in the global economy. You're not just confined to your own country.
Yeah, the global economy. There will be no African Metaverse. It's just Metaverse. So part of what I see happening in this, very exciting time to come is there will be less, I need to get a job. Why? Because you have students in school today in Nigeria earning $10 a day, just spending an hour playing a game, right? So poverty would actually significantly reduce in Africa. And when poverty reduces, people have time to now start thinking about their future, or, what to do with their lives and all that. So the key thing is there will be a lot more opportunity, in terms of connecting with people and also earning an income in that era. So yeah, it's really exciting times.
Yeah, I can't add more, but there is something that I need to make spotlight on. At the beginning of every new innovation, something new, there are a lot of scams, criminal activities. So all these things, it may affect the reputation for this industry negatively, because still early, not too much people do understand how to deal with it, how to secure wallets, how to use NFTs and all these things. So we need to make sure that it's easy now to be scammed with some people that claiming about how much it is good, you can come and buy and all these things. So this is normal, this is something normal. Think about Bitcoin at the early days. And this is a new era, a new development in the industry. So we need to make sure about to reduce the effect of scams. And I think this is the mission for the service providers. As much as you go to the decentralized direction, the scam sometimes in opposite that you may thinking, it's going to be reduced. So we need to take care about all these things, especially at the early days of the technology or before reaching to the mass adoption, because we still have time. At least you need some hardware to interact with this technology. It's not very cheap for everyone to buy, so we still have time to reach to the adoption or the mass adoption. So we need to make sure about this interval. There is not too much scam and criminal activities. It may happen through this journey.
Sandi? Ah, yes.
On that, thank you. How much time do we have? How big is adoption? Because we see adoption curves getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So just a question on adoption. We see adoption curves getting, steeper and steeper and steeper. So how much time, how quickly will we have mass adoption on the metaverse?
It's not easy to expect, actually, but the acceleration is happening faster than, personally speaking, I didn't imagine the acceleration and the mass adoption happening right now, because there is a kind of awareness and education, and there is another thing, which is, I think it's an entry barrier, which is the hardware cost for participating in the metaverse era. So I don't have a clear expectation for the timeline to reach to the mass adoption. Sorry about that. I can't imagine how on when we can reach to this level. But it is faster than you and me expecting.
Why it's right is because usually, first of all, we are still trying to deal with getting people on payments, normal payments, tech companies. Now we are telling them that there's something called crypto. And then we're telling them there's something called NFTs and now Metaverse that they can't even see, right? So usually, if we want to talk about it, it's going to be very far because we have bigger problems, right? However, with crypto, you can't tell. Why? Because a year in the normal world is like a day or a week in crypto or Web3. So it's probably going to come faster than we think, okay? But you can't put the time to it because there are so many challenges, so many challenges to overcome before we get there.
Sandi?
Well, I think that 5 years for sure it's too short of a time to talk about some really major adoption of what we are probably thinking here. and we are the early adopters. I think that the curves are getting steeper in adoption, but the change that is happening here right now, with all the thoughts about ownership and decentralization, it's really, it's a revolutionary thought. It's a paradigm shift. I don't think that can happen within one generation. So I do think that we'll need to wait for the next generation that's coming to actually mass adopt it. For instance, I don't see my parents adopting it. I try to get them into crypto, and everything that's happening right now is they're calling me up like 2 or 3 times a day when something pops up, and can I click this or not? So, and also thinking about scams and so on. We're talking about trustlessness and so on in the forms of blockchain. But in the end, when I look at my job right now, most of the time I'm assessing if a project is legit or not. So, is that like really trustlessness? Yeah, in a sense it is, but still you need to do a lot of due diligence on everything that you actually do. And I don't think that this is going to happen, that shift can happen really so fast. So I think the early adopters are faster than on any other technology, but the majority is coming a bit slower later on.
Thank you. I did see another hand, but I know we don't have time. However, please feel free to go up to the panelists and ask them anything. One.
Ask 5 of you. Okay, just more for Sandi. My name is Robert from Transition Group. I was just on your website for 3Air. So we know from the capacity point of view, I think it will be a huge amount of capacity because those submarine cables.
Yeah, can't hear you. Yeah.
Because can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's better, yeah? Yeah, we know there's lots of submarine cables going to come to the Africa continent. So we have 3 cables to the eastern part of Africa, and to Africa, Peace, Aquialo, and even Africa 1 new cables.
So I really,
can't hear,
I didn't understand.
Sorry, can you hear?
Yeah, just
close.
Okay, it is fine.
Yes.
Oh, better.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. My name is Robert from Transition Group. I'm particular for Sandi. Yeah? So we know there are going to be a lot of capacities landing in Africa. Okay, I think probably now Kenya is consuming about 3 terabytes. But we have new cables, like Peace cable, there 1 to Africa, Africa 1 are going to land. So possibly there are going to be 200 to 300 terabytes of capacity going to land, which I think is good to your business. That's why my question is more about your business model. Are you going to be an empowerer or enabler for the ISP, or are you going to lay in your own fibers to the last mile to the end user? And what exactly, who are your customers, and how are you going to take best advantage of those surplus capacities, which I think Africa, from the infrastructure point of view, is ready to boom. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's not really for the Web3 panel, right? And we are a bit late, so I'll just maybe we can speak in private afterwards. But we are operating as an ISP, and on top of that, we are building actually a blockchain that's going to be decentralized in the future. So for the capacities that you are talking about, so we will utilize them, and then we are actually the last mile solution. So we are picking up from where you ended, and then just distribute that to the end user. And it's also not only about building new ones. There are actually, I think that only half of all the bandwidth that's coming to Africa is actually being utilized right now. So there's a lot of unused capacities, but the problem is the last mile solution, so getting it to the end user. So that's where we try to solve that issue.
Perfect. Also with bandwidth sharing, right?
Yeah, bandwidth sharing is one. So I'm calling that the last 100 meters solution, not the last mile.
Okay. So thank you. Thank the panelists and also the audience. We're definitely way out of time. So yeah, thanks.